Hey guys, what is up? This is Matthew Davis, once again. Welcome back to another video game review. This time it is going to be on Resident Evil Village. Anyways, Resident Evil Village takes place 3 years after the events of Resident Evil 7. You play as Ethan Winters from that game, who has a daughter now, and while living a normal life at his home with his wife and daughter, Chris Redfield shows up and his wife supposedly gets killed, and both Ethan and his daughter get taken to a dark village filled with psychotic creatures and people who are trying to keep his daughter away from him. And now he has to go and try to get her back and escape the village. Obviously, I was super excited for this game. I couldn't wait to play this on a next-gen console, and it left me curious and interested to see what exactly was going to happen on certain events of the game. Like, why did Chris kill Ethan's wife? Is he a villain now? We do have an answer for that, which I'm not going to spoil for you guys. Anyway, I can easily say I had a lot of fun with this one. There are times where it can be better than Resident Evil 7. One of the biggest improvements in this game has going for it is its gameplay, specifically the fact it kind of feels like a first-person version of Resident Evil 4. And not just the fact that you're in a village and you're trying to escape the village or trying to rescue someone from a village. It does feel like Resident Evil 4 a bit, just in first person, and it's shorter, and you don't have to escort anyone, but you do have to save someone who you don't have to escort. Pretty much what I mean is that there's a merchant in this game who can upgrade your weapons from currency you get from killing enemies, just like in Resident Evil 4. And I really like the merchant. I also really like the merchant in Resident Evil 4, only this one has a lot more character to it. And it's kind of a bit more interesting too, like where exactly he's from and stuff like that, while the merchant in Resident Evil 4, he doesn't really talk that much. I mean, he's still interesting, but this one has a bit more character to him. His name is Duke, by the way. I almost forgot his name, but I can't believe I actually remembered his name. And you can also gather ingredients by killing farm animals and cooking meals that will allow you to upgrade your health and your speed and stuff like that. Plus, there are more weapons you can buy and find as well. It's something I hope more modern Resident Evil games can do in the future, and it truly made the gameplay more fun. You can also find treasures that you can sell to the merchant who will give you more money. You can sell your weapons to get better weapons. It was truly a blessing to see. Now, of course, the biggest thing the game has going for it is the villain known as Lady Dimitrescu. I don't know. It's kind of pronounced like Dimitrescu. I don't know. It's pronounced a little bit differently in the game, but she was great. I honestly really enjoyed her. Where her and her three daughters are stalking you and trying to kill you in the first few hours of the game, I honestly wish we could have seen more of her, but unfortunately she isn't the main villain of the game. You actually kill her much early on in the game against her boss fight, which is a bit disappointing, given how she was basically a big reveal in the game, like exactly what she was going to be for in the game, but it was kind of disappointing. Though, honestly, I really liked her more than the actual main villain of the game that you see in the last act of the game. Now, how does the game look on PS5? Well, it definitely screams next-gen. The world and the look of the village looks phenomenal on PS5. Not to mention, I did end up getting creeped out at some parts. Like, there are a few disturbing creatures that really started getting to me. Like this giant mutated baby that starts stalking you, and you have to hide from it. It really freaked me out, and I absolutely loved the feeling that that thing was out to get me, and I had to try getting away from it. I really wish you could have fought it, though. Unfortunately, you don't. I'm also happy that most of the creatures actually look closer to humans than slime monsters like in Resident Evil 7, because honestly, those things really weren't intimidating at all. Now, there are a few faults I do have with the game. Mainly when it gets to the last act. I mean, the game definitely nailed it when it's at its horror roots. But, now there is a spoiler that I am going to bring up here. I actually do want to mention it, so please be warned. When it gets close to the last part of the game, there's like this section when you're riding a machine with a turret with infinite ammo, and you go up against this robotic-like creature that nearly took me away from the horror a bit. I was almost worried that he was the final boss. Fortunately, he wasn't, as it has a much better final boss. But I really didn't feel like it worked at all. Like, I could say the best part of that aspect was the fact that Capcom was a bit self-aware about Chris Redfield with his past on punching boulders. It was actually really funny, and Resident Evil does have its bit of charm when it comes to its humor side. But of course, it takes a more serious route, obviously, because it's Resident Evil, not Comedy Evil or Resident Comedy or something. I don't know. But luckily, 80% of the game doesn't rely on action. The horror is still there, the creatures are still there. I did feel the chills it was giving me as I was playing. Now, one thing people are kind of criticizing a bit in the game is the way it ends. I, for one, didn't mind it. It definitely does set up for another game. I mean, you can tell it does from the after credits scene. I mean, I personally am interested where they'll be going with it. Now, there is a mode in this game called Reverse, which I haven't played yet, but I do plan to play it soon. I might play it after I'm done with this review, but it's supposed to be pretty fun from what I've heard. So yeah, I'll probably try it out after I'm done with this review, or at least after I'm done editing it. In the end, I really had a great time with Resident Evil Village. The gameplay is there, the horror for the most part is still there. I felt like I was really getting my time spent well within the 10 hours I played in this game. I can say it's definitely a step forward from the Resident Evil 3 remake we got last year. It might not be the next Resident Evil 2 in terms of modern Resident Evil games, but it's still a really solid one. I'm going to give Resident Evil Village a 4 out of 5. I definitely recommend picking this one up, especially on PS5. It's also on other multiple consoles, last gen, next gen. It's also on PC, but I definitely recommend the PS5 port, which I think is what Capcom was mostly going for, to promote, you know, the next gen consoles. But yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Regal Theaters over here are going to be opening up really soon. I'm definitely going to be seeing Spiral this weekend, so I will have a review for that. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Ward out.